Welcome to Cast Me If You Can, the show that takes you on cinematic journeys you won't soon forget.
Each week, we break down a hit film, giving you bold takes, unexpected twists, and a whole new way to experience the movies you love.
Buckle up, because this week we're diving headfirst into Marvel Studios' upcoming Thunderbolts film. You guys requested it, and we always deliver.
Now, as of today, April 7, 2025, the movie hasn't actually hit theaters yet.
That's right. The release date is still a few weeks away, May 2nd to be exact, so instead of our usual review, think of this as your ultimate pre-release briefing.
We're going to lay out all the intel, what we know about the premise, the team, the anticipation, the whole shebang.
So by the time Thunderbolts drops, you'll be totally locked and loaded, ready to catch all the nuances and Easter eggs. All right, let's get into it. First things first, the core concept. What exactly are the Thunderbolts? Well, forget your typical clean-cut heroes.
Yeah, this isn't your classic Avengers situation. We're dealing with a squad of anti-heroes, former villains, even some super soldiers, all operating under the watchful eye of Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Okay, whoa. Back up for a sec. Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. That's a mouthful. Can you break down who she is for anyone who might not be totally up to speed?
Right. Sorry about that. I sometimes forget not everyone has spent as much time digging into the MCU as I have. So we've seen Contessa Valentina, or Val, as she likes to be called, in a few MCU projects now. She made a brief but impactful appearance in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and again in the Black Widow post-credits scene. She's kind of this mysterious figure operating in the shadows, recruiting people with, let's say, unique abilities for her own purposes.
I see. Like she's putting together her own little team, but with the slightly more morally flexible roster.
Exactly. And that's what makes Thunderbolts so interesting. These aren't your squeaky clean heroes. These are characters with baggage, with a past. It implies their missions are going to be a little less, shall we say, by the book.
This has got to be raising some eyebrows, right? I mean, you've got this team of former baddies doing who knows what at the behest of a shadowy figure. It's like the MCU's take on the Suicide Squad or something.
It's definitely got that vibe. And that's what has everyone so hyped. It's a departure from the typical superhero formula, and it opens up a whole bunch of exciting possibilities.
Okay, so less talk, more action. Let's meet this crew. Who are these Thunderbolts?
Buckle up, because this is where things get really interesting.
First up, we've got Yelena Belova, the new Black Widow, played by Florence Pugh. She's quickly become a fan favorite, and for good reason.
She's fantastic. Yelena is Natasha Romanoff's sister, trained in the same brutal Red Room program. She's got the skills, the charisma, and, let's be honest, the sass to make things very interesting.
Oh yeah, she's not afraid to call people out, especially on their superhero poses.
Exactly. We've already seen glimpses of her complex personality in Black Widow and Hawkeye. With Thunderbolts, we'll get to see her really step into the spotlight.
I am here for it. Next, we have a familiar face. Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. Portrayed, as always, by the incredible Sebastian Stan. Now, Bucky's had a rough go in the MCU. Brainwashed assassin, trying to find redemption, the whole deal. Where do you think his head's at going into this?
Man, his story is so full of trauma and this constant search for a place to belong. Being on a team like this, with others who have also walked a dark path, it could go either way for him. Will he find a sense of purpose? Or will he be tempted to slip back into old habits?
Yeah, heavy stuff. And it gets even more complicated when you consider who else is on this team.
Oh, you're talking about John Walker, right.
The one and only U.S. agent, played by Wyatt Russell. Now, he's someone who knows a thing or two about questionable choices. I mean, he went from trying to fill Captain America's shoes to, well, going a little off the rails, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he's definitely a wild card. Got the super soldier serum coursing through him, but also a whole lot of anger and resentment. That kind of volatile mix makes him incredibly unpredictable. It'll be interesting to see how he interacts with the rest of the team.
Speaking of interesting interactions, we can't forget about Alexei Shostakov, a.k.a. Red Guardian. David Harbour just nails that role.
I love Red Guardian. On the surface, he's this big, boisterous, kind of goofy guy, but there's a real heart to him, especially when it comes to Yelena.
Yeah, that father-daughter bond they have is so heartwarming and hilarious. Who doesn't love a good found family moment in their superhero flick?
I mean, who can forget that scene in Black Widow where he's bragging about fighting Captain America and then admits he made it all up? Pure gold.
Pure gold indeed. All right, moving on, we've got Taskmaster, the master of mimicry.
Oh yeah, Taskmaster, played by Olga Kurylenko. Her photographic reflexes are insane. She can copy any fighting style she sees.
I mean, that's a pretty useful skill to have when you're going up against a bunch of superpowered individuals. But if you'll recall from Black Widow, Taskmaster has a pretty messed up past. She was basically a weapon under Dreykov's control. So, what are her motivations now? Is she looking for revenge, stability, or is she still just a tool to be used?
Great questions. We've seen her capable of incredible violence, but also moments of vulnerability. Where her loyalties lie and what she wants for herself now that she's free from Dreykov's control, that's one of the big mysteries going into this film.
And the mysteries keep coming. We've also got Ghost, played by Hannah John Kamen. Her phasing abilities are some of the most visually stunning powers in the MCU.
She's a really compelling character. We first met her in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and she was dealing with chronic pain and instability because of her condition. It'll be interesting to see how she fits into this team dynamic.
Yeah, she always seems to be caught between worlds, literally and figuratively. Now we've saved the biggest reveal for last, a casting choice that sent shockwaves through the MCU fandom.
You're talking about Harrison Ford as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, right?
The one and only. I mean, this is Han Solo and Indiana Jones we're talking about. To see him step into the MCU is just epic.
And not only is he playing Ross, but the rumors are swirling that he might transform into Red Hulk. Can you imagine?
Hold on, Red Hulk.
Yep. In the comics, Ross gets exposed to gamma radiation, similar to Bruce Banner, and becomes the Red Hulk. And with all this talk about gamma radiation in recent MCU projects, it's definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
Okay, whoa, that would be a huge game changer, totally shaking up the power dynamics of the entire MCU.
Not to mention, it'd be visually awesome.
Absolutely. But even without the Red Hulk element, this is a team packed with heavy hitters, each with their own baggage, their own motivations. I mean, what kind of tone and themes can we expect from this film?
Well, I think it's safe to say Thunderbolts is going to be a bit darker and grittier than your average MCU fare. We're dealing with characters who have made mistakes, who've crossed lines. It'll probably explore themes of redemption, second chances, the price of power, all that good stuff.
Definitely sounds like they're going for a more grounded aesthetic, too. Maybe something along the lines of Captain America, the Winter Soldier, or Black Widow.
I think so. A bit more realistic, with a focus on practical effects and believable action sequences, which, honestly, I'm all for. Sometimes less is more when it comes to the superhero action.
Now, obviously, we're still a few weeks out from the release, but the fan theories are already running wild.
Oh yeah, the speculation is off the charts.
People are dying to know who the real big bad is going to be. Is it Sentry, who comic book fans will know is this incredibly powerful but kind of unstable character? Or is there someone else pulling the strings from behind the scenes?
Well, we do know that Sentry will be in the movie. He's being played by Louis Pullman, who was originally going to be played by Steven Yeun, but Yeun had to back out due to scheduling conflicts.
Which was a bummer. I love Yoon, but hey, I'm sure Pullman will do a great job.
Absolutely. And, to your point, Sentry he's brilliant, manipulative, and always 10 steps ahead. So yeah, the true villain of Thunderbolts is still a big question mark. And honestly, that's what makes it so exciting.
I'm all about those twists and turns. So what about Val? What's her endgame with this team? Is she building her own personal army? Or does she have something even bigger in mind?
Well, her motives have been pretty murky so far. We know she's ambitious, resourceful, and not afraid to play dirty. Is she trying to control the Thunderbolts for her own gain? Or is she preparing them for a threat that even the Avengers aren't equipped to handle?
Ooh, that's an intriguing thought. I mean, we've seen hints that she's connected to some pretty powerful people. Maybe she's got her fingers in something much larger than we realize.
Possibly even something related to the multiverse.
Now you're talking. That would tie things in nicely with everything else that's been happening in the MCU lately.
It would make sense. The multiverse has introduced a whole new level of chaos and potential threats. A team like the Thunderbolts, with their less-than-heroic methods, might be exactly what's needed to deal with those kinds of problems.
Man, this is getting my brain all twisted up.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's the fun of all this speculation.
It really is. So, while we're on the topic of speculation, what about cameos? Any chance we might see some familiar faces popping up in Thunderbolts?
I would say it's almost a guarantee. The MCU loves its interconnectedness, and with a team like this, the possibilities are endless. We could see anyone from Sam Wilson, maybe even Sharon Carter from the espionage side of things.
Maybe even Abomination, who we last saw in She-Hulk?
Possibly. He has a history with Ross, so that would make sense. And don't forget, we still don't know what happened to Zemo after the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Ooh, good point. Okay, last big question before we move on. With all these strong personalities and questionable pasts, are we going to see some major internal conflict? I mean, can this team actually work together?
Oh, I think conflict is inevitable. You've got characters who are used to operating alone, who have different goals, different ways of doing things. The question isn't if they'll clash, but when and how big the fallout will be.
Okay, so lots of questions still up in the air, but hey, that's part of the fun.
Definitely.
But before we get too lost in the speculation, let's step behind the scenes for a bit. This film has had a bit of a bumpy road to production, hasn't it?
It has. It was originally announced back at San Diego Comic-Con in 2022, but then there were delays, mostly due to the writers and actors strikes that happened last year.
Yeah, those strikes really threw a wrench into a lot of productions. But hey, maybe the extra time allowed the filmmakers to really polish the script and get everything just right.
That's what we're hoping for.
Fingers crossed. So the initial script was written by Eric Pearson, who did a great job with Black Widow, but then there were rewrites by Lee Sung-jin and Joanna Kahlo, who have some amazing credits on shows like Beef and BoJack Horseman.
That's a really interesting mix of writers. You've got someone with a strong understanding of the MCU, paired with writers known for their sharp character work and dark humor. Could be a great combination.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how their different styles blend together. All right, let's move on to Easter eggs. What kind of hidden gems might we see in Thunderbolts?
Well, given the roster, it's safe to say we'll be getting some callbacks to previous films and shows. We could see nods to Black Widow, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and of course, anything related to Ross will likely tie back to the Hulk in some way.
I'm already making a list of things to watch out for.
Me too.
Hmm.
It's always fun to spot those little details that connect the different parts of the MCU.
Now, on a purely visual level, what are some of the things you're most excited to see brought to life on screen?
Oh man, where do I even begin? Ghost's phasing abilities are always a visual treat. Taskmaster's fighting style is going to be mesmerizing, and if we do get a glimpse of Red Hulk, that's going to be epic.
Don't forget about all the potential fight choreography between these characters.
Right, just thinking about Yelena and Bucky going head-to-head, or Taskmaster mimicking Red Guardian's moves. It's going to be a visual feast for action fans.
Okay, last but not least, let's talk about the potential impact of Thunderbolts. This movie has the potential to really shake things up in the MCU.
It does. First of all, it's exploring a whole new corner of the Marvel Universe with characters who aren't your typical heroes. It's darker, it's grittier, and it raises a lot of questions about morality, redemption, and what it really means to be a hero.
And it's not just about introducing new ideas, it also has the potential to tie together loose ends from previous films and shows.
Absolutely. It could give us some closure on certain storylines while also setting up new conflicts and alliances that could have repercussions for years to come.
I'm also excited to see how it elevates some of these characters. Like, U.S. Agent and Taskmaster have so much potential, and this movie could really be their breakout moment.
Totally agree. This could be their chance to step out of the shadows and become major players in the MCU.
And of course, if the Red Hulk rumors are true, that's going to have a massive ripple effect across the entire franchise.
The Red Hulk played by Harrison Ford.
Right.
That would be a game changer for sure.
No doubt about it. So basically, Thunderbolts has the potential to be a really big deal for the MCU. We could be seeing the birth of a new team, new conflicts, new heroes, new everything.
I think it's safe to say that Thunderbolts is more than just a standalone film. It feels like the start of something bigger, something that could reshape the landscape of the ACU as we know it.
And that's why we're so excited.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so we've laid out all the intel, we've analyzed the trailers, we've dissected the rumors. Now it's up to you guys to decide what you think will happen when Thunderbolts hits theaters on May 2nd.
So, as you wait for the big day, here's a question to chew on. What do you think the biggest internal conflict on this team will be? Will it be about their pasts, their missions, or maybe even the very definition of what it means to be a hero?
We want to hear your thoughts. Share your theories on our socials. And remember, if you enjoyed this pre-release breakdown, leave us a rating, a review, and tell a friend.
And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our full review once Thunderbolts drops. Until then, keep watching the skies.
And may all your cinematic journeys be unforgettable.